Carla is a blogger for The Bollard. I've known Carla on the internet forever, and this is the realest we've ever been in human life. Let's do a hug. I want to hug you. Carla's going to tell a story. Thank you. Is this good?
It's going to be,
Cool.
Can you hear me now? A little bit lower? Is that possible? All right, so I'm a thief. Okay. I'm not like a criminal thief. Like, you can't take me to jail for it. I'm not gonna, go into Kohl's and try to wear all this clothing under my own and steal it. But when it comes to my husband's clothing, I am absolutely a thief. He works for LL Bean and brings home the comfiest, most well-pocketed apparel I've ever seen in my life. And as a woman wearing pants right now that literally have a fake pocket in the front, his clothing is just so tempting. And he always says, why don't you buy your own? And I go, but yours is right there. So fast forward to last summer, we go up to his in-laws' camp. It's on a lake called Gnabasik Lake. It's near Monmouth. His parents own a little camp on an island out there. And, I come down the second morning that we're there, and I'm wearing my shorts, a T-shirt, and his really, really comfy hoodie over it. I get the typical eye roll as I walk down to sit at the kitchen table, like, really? You didn't bring your own hoodie? And I go, it's comfy. It's cold out. Whatever. So we're there with a few friends, and we decide, after we had our nice breakfast, that we're going to go and we're going to take a walk around the backside of the island. It's a tiny little island. It's probably like a mile from head to tail. And all right, cool. So we go and we start to take a walk kind of through the woods away from the actual camp. My friends are all in front of me. I've got short legs. I was last. And all of a sudden, I feel this pain on my leg, okay? And I look down, and there's something that resembles a bee stinging me in the leg. And I'm like, oh, well, that's unfortunate and annoying. So I do what I was taught when I was little, which is to, if you see a bee, you've probably just disturbed it, just back away a little. With a honeybee, that's perfectly appropriate, okay? I'm no longer in its way, he'll go off and or if it's a honeybee, he'll just die because he already stung me. This approach does not work with yellow jackets. I don't know if anybody here has ever been stung by a yellow jacket, but they are evil. Not only can they sting you multiple times, so they can just sit there like this, but every time they sting you, instead of dying like a honeybee does in this last heroic effort, they actually just emit this pheromone. It's called an attack pheromone. And it says, oh, by the way, I found this person worthy to attack, and so should you. So the entire ground nest that I had apparently stepped on then in slow motion rises out of the ground in a black cloud and comes at me. So I'm not prepared for this. I have never encountered this before. So I have this huge hoodie on and shorts, and they start to sting me all the way down both my legs. So I'm at this point panicking. I run to the nearest shoreline and run into the water, thinking if I can get under the water, I can get away from the bees. Turns out I picked the only stretch of that entire shoreline where there's about 6 inches of water and mud. So I walk into the water, and it's up to my ankles. So I'm getting stung. They're all over my hoodie, trying to sting me up here. I finally lay down in the water, and they finally stop stinging me. And I sit there calm for a moment, and I look up, and my friends are on the shoreline just horrified. And I lay there like this for a second, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's over, and one stings me right there. I flung my glasses into the mud, never to be seen again. So after this subsides, I come out of the water. I'm covered in dead bees that are now stuck to this hoodie because they couldn't sting me through it. But I have in excess of 30 stings on my legs. So they bring me back to this camp, which, did I mention this was on an island? So this is not like, oh, hey, let's go to the ER now. It's like, oh, we have to try to get you onto a boat or have a doctor come out and look at you or call the Coast Guard, which that was not happening. So I take some antihistamines, I'm laying there, and my husband's father comes back from, they had literally just gone, across the way to get rid of some garbage. He comes back, and he's actually a doctor, so he looks me over, and I am about this close to essentially toxic shock. And as they peel the hoodie off me, they count that there are more than 50 bees attached to the hoodie. So if I had not stolen my husband's hoodie, I could have died. I could have at least gone into what they call toxic shock, which is literally just that you get too much of a venom per volume in your bloodstream. And I could have gone into shock. I could have needed to be hospitalized. Not an allergic reaction, but literally you are overwhelmed. So the next time I wore the hoodie, after it had been washed very thoroughly with of all of the bees and all of the mud, my husband didn't roll his eyes.